Hi, everybody. This is Mark Bromley, your favorite artist and author, that too, of the Yoranthium book series. I'm going to follow up with another nude artwork during the live study sessions back in 1990 to 93 that I would attend, usually on a Friday night or a Saturday night. We would have life study courses offered by the Quigley Hall, the art hall, over at Western University in Gunnison, Colorado. This is one of the first models that I actually drew. This is one of my first drawings of a live nude art model at quite a distance. I would say about 20 feet away from where I was set up with my easel and my drawing pad and my sketchbook and everything. This is about 2 feet by 3 feet, and this is one of the very first. This is the first, actually, as a matter of fact. Now, back in the 90s, there was a Renaissance period idea going around that creating nudity is the essence of artwork in purity and innocence. That's mostly what it's all about. Um, I guess a lot of people that are not artists, they would be uh, strange or weird about these concepts and ideas, and I can understand why. It wasn't until after college, when I was traveling the world, visiting places like Thailand and other locations where they would drop the sailors off in the not the best part of town, that I would actually learn that a lot of people who are not artists, well, their idea of what this is actually good for was a totally different concept. And I would think that that's the problem with America, is that there's a lot of repression in the United States because it's brutal. I mean, the only way I can describe Northland is the North Korea of the United States. I've been experiencing it ever since I was a child. Poverty, endless, nonstop poverty. That's what basically the United States offers the majority of its people, because there's a lot of selfish, uninventive, uncreative, selfish people that I've ran against office for here in Northland that are just selfish, cruel people. They steal most of what they own, and they've acquired much of what they have through the misappropriation of resource from others. They never allow them to actually grow or prosper in their line of work, and they tend to target the artist, and they try to keep the artist from actually being anything more than suppressed and oppressed within the United States of America. And this only allows terrible people to rise up and to grow in our society, who think it's okay to belittle others. And if you go see online, you can see the belittling that I get from individuals on the council and stuff, and they actually attack me right there, trying to create their oppression of others, thinking that they're owed by everybody else, because they're like screaming Karens who think that they're owed everything in the world, and that everybody else should be doing things for them for free. Like volunteering in the United States. Volunteering is just another word for slavery. It's usually used by Democrats, the same Democrats who were the Confederates, who fought a bloody war called the Civil War in the United States because the Confederates wanted to retain people as slaves. Even after World War II, they assassinated Abraham Lincoln because they wanted to create people of slavery. And I suppose I wanted to show this my nude artwork series here for the Yoranthium book series, because of book 3 coming out, which is going to start to delve a little deeper into the sinister sides of human trafficking, human slavery, the disrespect that a lot of people who are prospering off the use of slavery in the United States, like the Democrat Party, who recently used 7th graders over at the STEM school to go out and promote their adult candidacy. Honestly, adult elections should not have any children working for them. They should not be out there knocking on doors, posting signs, or even creating websites or QR codes or anything for an adult election. Children should not be involved in that at all. If anything, children should only be involved in understanding how elections are ran through their own school, within their own school, where the environment can be kept peaceful and not adult. They should not be interacting with a whole bunch of adults that they're knocking on doors with that they have no idea who these adults are, because I've knocked on a lot of doors for my campaigns, and I can tell you some of the adults that I ran into are pedophiles. And you shouldn't have your children introduced to that, not even through the public schools. They shouldn't be even causing your children to run into that. I know when I was a kid, I used to do these fundraisers for the school, and I ran into some weird people, some really terrible people that you don't want your kids running into. And that was for the fundraisers, selling scholastic books, selling candles, little trinkets. They called it a fundraiser, but really what it was usury. It was some adult using these children to promote their own future and their own well-being, and it was a slave labor. It's kind of like the Girl Scouts selling cookies. When you really get down to the nitty-gritty, you find out that there's a handful of adults that run that operation, and they're receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars of benefits from the sale of these cookies. And that's their job. That's their adult job. And these children that are working for them aren't getting anything. Most of them won't get a dime. Most of them will get nothing. But they're out there working for free. Is that value? Are these children learning value? They're not. They're learning to be part of a system of slavery and oppression by these Democrats, by these Confederates. That's right. The Democrat vice president had Abraham Lincoln assassinated just so they could create indentured servitude and retain slavery in the United States. John Wilkes Booth was an assassin created by the Democrat platform. It was Abraham Lincoln's fault. He picked a vice president Democrat who was going to succeed him if he should die. So you tell me that that wasn't set up, that that wasn't the plan, because it was, in order to retain slavery as a form of indentured servitude. More lies. And the truth will be in Book 3, Land of the Potentate, of the Yoranthium book series, of what slavery really looks like, because I've worked it. My reason for being in the Navy wasn't because it was really a choice. It was more or less a form of slavery and oppression that got me there. A lot of the people I hung out with in my shop came from the very same streets that George Floyd came from. That's why I say I'm like George Floyd, very similar, because the people I associated with while I was in the Navy came from the very same streets that George Floyd came from himself. They came from the same backgrounds. They came from the same poverty in the United States, the same conditions. And did George Floyd deserve to be treated like a person on faces of death? There was this Russian guy, drawn and quartered, tied to horses and ripped apart because he owed $25. I think it was $25. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong. You'll have to see the faces of death, but you'll be surprised. A lot of people were shocked that it was so little. But the same thing happened to George Floyd. He was questioned over, I guess, a $20 false bill, counterfeit, $20, and he was killed because of $20 with a knee on his neck. Now, it doesn't matter if he was killed on purpose or by accident. It's still manslaughter. It just is. So you can't really escape that one. And that's a good moral of the story. Be careful what you do in life. Value life. Don't be a person running around accidentally killing people, because it's the same thing. It's carelessness. Don't be careless. Be sensible in your actions and how you represent yourself in this world. In everything that you do, be responsible. And this is what life studies actually teaches the artist, to be more respectful and more responsible. Because I've seen a lot of people that are not artists, and I know that these people that cannot do art, they would look at this with lustful intent and dishonest, deceptive intents, just because they don't have the art spirit in them. They don't have the understanding or the maturity to be able to actually draw such elements. And I ran into this. I ran into this in the Navy with several people there that were just uh, products of the repression in the American society. They did not have enlightened minds. But here it is in Colorado at a university, Western University, and it was a refreshing break from the oppression that normally Colorado is all about. The North Korea of Colorado. It's an escape from that North Korea of Colorado, the life drawing course. And I know the school didn't really pay their models sufficiently. I know they didn't do that because they put the tip cup out. You wouldn't have a tip cup out there asking people to tip what they don't have. I mean, you're asking a whole bunch of art students out of college who are spending, well, probably every single thing that they own to get art supplies to put a tip in a cup, which amounts to what, maybe $1 if they're lucky, maybe a few cents, because pencils and drawing pads and paints and whatnot, well, it all costs resources. And that reminds me, if you like my work, get my book, contact me, create some art, get my t-shirts when I release them. My wings for the back of the jacket are about to be released. So if you're bikers and you wanted some really cool American looking wings, I got that. I got you covered. You probably like it. It's original, it's new, and it's cool. So help me out. Support my artwork. I know there's a million people on the website that exploit artists and they steal our stuff. I know the city of Northglen's stolen my logo ideas for themselves, and they still haven't paid me the money that they owe me for stealing my work, because they did it as a government. They did it as a government officials. They stole my artwork as government officials, and you guys elected these thieves and liars onto your city council who actually actively stole my stuff. My gosh, it's sad when your government is the thief, is the criminals, are the scumbags, and you elect them into office and you keep them there. Why? Why do that? Why help them? Why help them to be thieves and criminals and crooks? Should that be the U.S. government, the North Korea government of the United States where I live? It shouldn't be like that at all, but it is. Anyway, long story short, the artists don't really have the resources. We already paid our tuitions and fees to this university, and our means, my means, well, I had to borrow the money to go to college. So yeah, that's the way it is. And so hopefully the college paid her enough to actually do this kind of work, because it's actually very important that we respect people for who they are. The artist usually gets attacked usually for skipping these things, but a lot of artists don't do the actual life drawing courses, and they tend to get the the anatomy of people wrong, because the only thing they have to look at is a stick figure, a mannequin, or an anime version of what they think the body should look like. And it's drawn wrong. There's a number of videos that will teach you how to draw the anatomy wrong. It looks nice because that's the way anime wants it to look, but it's not true. This is a true form. This is more of a true anatomy of what you might actually see. And this is my first actual drawing of such things, professionally done, of course. And there is a difference between professional and what a lot of sadder people in this world would turn it into, the oppressors in our society. And, I'll cover some of that in the third book, the Yoranthium book series. And thank you for looking. Thank you for listening to me. I know sometimes I get off topic and I start ranting about things. Just creating content for the video. That's about it. Well, if you have any questions, go ahead and talk to me. I gave you my email. If you want to support my art, help me out, create better works, great, fantastic. That's fantastic. I did this in the 1990s when I was a student, and I'm very good at everything that I do in the arts. Actually, as a matter of fact, I know that there's a bunch of people that pop up on the web pages that I used to do my search engine on. I used to be the only one showing up there. And now they found these other people that show up there. And some of the people they do the lustful pictures, not the true pictures, more like the lustful pictures. And that's not really actually art. All they do is just do a kind of like a dark line, and then they put like some kind of weird color scheme behind it that just looks like, the painting schemes of apartments back in the 1970s where they had a color of wall and then they put a pinstriping or lines across the walls. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Anyways, I don't do that kind of stuff. I could. It's easy. It's simple. I mean, it's laughable that they say that it's artwork, but it's not because they never really try to go with the shading, the shadows, the textures, or the professionalism that's required. They go with imagination. I know I could say I have the artist style. It's the anime realism, Renaissance, Impressionistic, Symbolism, and Surrealism that I incorporate in my work. I do that quite a bit, but the anime part is subdued. So I put it up front. So that's not the actual important part. The important part falls in the middle of what I'm doing. The Renaissance Symbolism, Impressionism. That's where it actually comes into handy. I put the anime up there to try to describe it a little bit to those who don't understand. And then by the end, I actually bring it into fuller perspective with the surrealism word. And that's how it all comes out. And you can see that this is actually quite a decent piece. If I wanted to colorize this and paint this thing, I could. I could easily do it. I could do a digital remaster of these things. Would you like a digital remaster in color? Because I could easily do that. I remember the day that this happened. I remember a lot of things. Um, I've always had a very pretty good memory of things, of real events. And yeah, I can get this pretty close to what it was. So let me know. You all